All right. So a little later than normal. It's 3 o'clock, but
Is it 3 o'clock?
yeah,
3:14.
3:14.
But we're live from Indie Week, downtown Toronto. I'm Cam Carpenter.
I'm Darryl Hurs, and this is what we do every week. We talk shop. It's like stuff going on around Toronto, stuff we've done, things about Indie Week,
Yeah.
stuff to
Things
help
about the
artists, you know, all that kind of stuff.
We have a cocktail or a beer. Actually, we're going to have a vote this week. I know what I'm having because I drink beer every week. But Darryl, you never know what you're going to have, whether a cider or...
Right, but we gotta wait till people catch up here.
Oh, okay. I thought we were going to do this in the
no,
preamble. Well,
no, you gotta. For people to vote, we need people.
okay. You mean everyone's not there already watching us?
No, well, almost.
Almost?
There's a few people up there now.
Oh, hello, people.
Right. So yeah, at the start of all this, we have a beverage. What are you drinking today, Cam?
I am going so Canadian. Of course, it is Canada 150. So I'm drinking a Nickelbrook, not a Nickelback, a Nickelbrook Maple Porter, which is a 6.0.
6.0. Is it mapley?
It's mapley. It's very stouty. It's almost like a chocolate stout.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
You would like that, like a stout.
Yeah, I like a good stout. It tastes like the stout I like at Castro's, which I forget what it's called. Or the stout at Biff Tech in Montreal. They make their own stout. If you're ever in Montreal, go to Biff Tech. It's a great rock and roll bar. It's been there forever. Free popcorn.
All right. Now this is, no, it's all good. This is this is something different, and I can't decide. So I want people watching to comment on what they think I should drink, because I couldn't. And this goes way against Cam's rules. So first one is Cabana Coast, and it's Moscow Mule, which is vodka, ginger beer, and lime.
That's, you know what, I've had Moscow Mules before. It's actually a Moscow Mule with Krabbies, which you drank last week, is really good. So
absolutely,
that's a good pool drink.
This would be a good drink. And then this I had to pick up just because of like my childhood.
Yeah.
Walking in a beer store or LCBO and then seeing this Pop Shop, and it's a hard soda lime Ricky. So let me know.
So
what should I open? Cabana Coast, Moscow Mule, or the lime Ricky?
What's the booze in the lime Ricky? Is that a vodka base too, or is it a rum base?
It's a vodka.
Vodka base.
Yep, and they're both 7%.
Oh, you got 1% more than me.
Yep. So it's going to be a good afternoon, either or. But I don't know. Let me know what I should open. Otherwise, I'm not going to open anything, and that sucks.
No, you got to open something.
All right.
What, are you going to have Faygo next week?
We'll see. I've got some interesting things coming up.
Do your Juggalos thing? Faygo?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Juggalos, the fans of Insane Clown Posse, they all drink Faygo, and they're called Juggalos.
I have no idea.
There's some Juggalos
Moscow
watching.
Mule, Pop Shop. Oh, Sean. Hey, Sean. Shout out to you. Yeah, so we'll see who, like, again, there's a few more new people on, but Cabana Coast, Moscow Mule, or Pop Shop Lime Ricky. Which one should I open?
Wow, Cam has his maple beer.
Yeah.
But you got to decide soon because they're going to get warm.
I know.
And it's hot outside and you need a cool beverage.
So, let's see what people are saying
We're
here.
sneaking in for a vote.
Yep.
Okay, well, you're counting the
So-
votes. I'll maybe do a little recap of our last week and stuff.
Absolutely.
Last Thursday night, I went and had a couple beers with my friend Nathan Quinn from E1. And he said, oh, we got to go over to the Cameron house because there's this duet playing called the Vickies from Newfoundland. And they were really cool. Guy and a girl doing some covers and some originals, keyboard and guitar. And it was lots of fun. There was about a dozen of us. It was like 6 o'clock on a Thursday. But all of a sudden, it starts getting really busy at the Cameron. Like, people are coming in. They're a little older. They're well dressed. And I look up, and like people are like scrambling for seats now. And I see Jim Cuddy from Blue Rodeo, and I go over and say, "Hey, Jim, what's going on?" And I remember Jim when he was in the Hi-Fi's way back before Blue Rodeo. So we go way back in the Toronto scene. And he goes, "My son's playing." So I said, "Oh, is Devin here?" He goes, "No, my other son is playing." And his other son is Sam Pauly. And what were they called? And the Old Tomorrows, who were great. They did some covers, some originals, just good rock and roll. And I also ran into Marnie McBean, who was a 4-time Olympic rower for Canada,
Right.
who I golfed with at a golf tournament with Darren Pfeiffer, and I reminded her of her and Darren Pfeiffer shotgunning beers at 11 o'clock on a par 3. Happy birthday to Darren Pfeiffer yesterday, by the way.
Ah, yeah, Big D.
Big D down in LA, Goldfinger. But yeah, it was quite funny. And Marty said to me, you know, how did I do? And I said, you shotgunned like a pro. So it's good to know Olympic athletes can shotgun. So and the band was really good. So that was my Thursday night at the Cameron House.
Nice.
And you?
Thursday, I don't remember.
But Friday night you had double experience down at.
Well, Friday, yeah, double experience. We went and saw at Cherry Cola's, which was great. It was good to see. Actually, Sean, who I saw already commenting, he was there. Actually, quite a few cool people came out, and the band played great. So, looking to see more double experience in Toronto. They're an Ottawa band,
Right.
And then the Saturday, Sunday. I don't see Patrick on here yet, but my friend Patrick. Yeah, no.
Where's Patrick?
Where's Pat? Right? I'll message him. I'll give him trouble. But yeah, so Patrick's in a barbecue competition team called Whiskey and Cleavers. It's a great name, great brand. And so we went to the barbecue competition up north. It rained like mad between Saturday, Sunday, and Sunday, so it was just like a big mess. If you remember, like Woodstock '94, where everybody was covered in mud, it was kind of like that. But hey, it's a lot of fun. They were third place in ribs, and I got to take them all home. So I had a fridge full of ribs this week.
Nice. Didn't bring it into the office.
Well, you know, sandwiches at home. And what was Monday? Oh yeah, so a good friend that used to work at the Horseshoe, Henry, big tall security guy. He's moved to Costa Rica and he was in town, so a whole bunch of us met up and had wings on Monday.
Nice.
So a lot of barbecue,
ribs,
and then wings. So yeah, it's been a very good food week.
On Sunday, I stayed in. It was kind of a crappy day in Toronto, and watched One Love Manchester on CTV.
Yeah.
Incredibly well put together.
Yeah.
Whether you were a fan of the music or not, everyone involved in the backup band, production, the stage, lighting, sound, TV crews, performances. It was a fantastic, 4 hours of music on CTV. And
yeah. Well, it was on the radio when I was driving back from the barbecue, and I'm a big fan of the Gallaghers, and I thought Liam did great. Like he actually had class, and just came and performed and gave away a tambourine.
I was waiting for him to say something on stage when I noticed his brother wasn't playing.
Yeah.
But Chris Martin did a great job prior to that doing Don't Look Back in Anger as well.
Right.
Did a really good job.
He didn't do so well when he was with Liam. Like I thought his singing was off, but it was alright.
I think they were like in different keys or something.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what it was, but it wasn't the perfect compliment to his voice. But he played well, and he brought all of Coldplay. I think they ended up doing 4 songs, so just for them to support that hard was pretty amazing. But
yeah, and then if you follow Liam Gallagher on Twitter, he tweeted a whole storm of hate toward, not hate, but just sort of really condemning his
vitriol.
brother.
Yeah.
So
But
I posted it.
But then conversely, his brother came back and he's giving up all the royalties to Don't Look Back in Anger to Manchester Relief. So his brother evened the score financially, if not
it's
emotionally. What do the votes say?
Well, not yet. I'm just going to do one last call. Am I going to open the Pop Shop Lime Ricky or Cabana Coast Moscow Mule? So in the next 2 minutes or so, I'm going to decide. So far, Pop Shop is the vote.
Okay, I'll be finished this. I'll drink the other, whatever it is. I really like the design.
Oh, no, that's my next week then.
The design in the cabana is very nice.
So,
then, so that was last week, pretty well.
Yeah, did you do anything leading up to now or ever this week?
No,
not
really.
All right. Okay, so I think Pop Shop it is. So everybody voted Pop Shop. There we go. One Ricky.
This is for Eddie Shack, who used to be the spokesman for Pop Shop in Ontario, anyways.
For me, it's like, childhood. Pop Shop was pop, and in adulthood, it's now
booze.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. So, coming up,
Glasses on.
June 23rd at the Horseshoe.
Munizo, our friends from Japan. It's their last show in Toronto. They're heading home after being here for over a year. Originally coming over to play Indie Week and got here 5 months early and bust and made a name for themselves and played the Shoe and a million other venues. This show is at the Horseshoe. So after a year, they have to head home.
Yeah, it's Munizo. If you're in the music scene, like an indie band in Toronto, you've probably heard of them, and they bands like this prove you can create an audience in a very short period of time if you work hard and you do the things that other bands aren't doing, like busking on the corner of
Spadina and Queen,
but also in the beaches or also Yonge and Dundas or anywhere else, promoting your show, right? And the other thing too is, and this is a bit of a, I don't know how to say it, but it's
band lesson.
Well, a little bit, where if you're busking on a corner and people are talking to you, you've got something. If you're busking on a corner and people are just walking by, you don't, right? And the thing is people would talk to them, like that's how you found them, right? And use that as feedback on adjust what you're doing. Maybe like if you're not getting the attention of people, then maybe you're not doing the right thing, right? Or you're in the wrong market. Go somewhere else.
And the unusual thing about their busking was they busked electric. So many people just do it with an acoustic guitar, but they had half a drum kit and bass and amps and a little generator, and they rocked it on the corners.
Yeah, they made it a show.
And they would have signs where their next show was, and they were great. And they are great. Like, they're not dying or anything. They're just moving back to Japan, and God knows when they'll come back. But they were great at social media as well. When they had a show coming, you knew. And the night after they played a show, the next day they announced their next one.
Yep.
And they made a lot of friends with a lot of our Indie Week artists as well.
They came in second place.
They came in second place, but they ended up doing shows like with all the promoters that we helped book them with. Like Dan Burke saw them, fell in love with them, and Dan's been a big supporter of them.
Well, had them play at Silver Dollar because of them at Indie Week.
Yeah.
Also, Dylan Hennessy, who's also like. Dylan's such a great supporter of ours, a great artist, but he ended up doing shows with them at Lee's Palace, I believe.
Yeah, some mad guitar between Munizo and Dylan. Those guys can well play. My God.
I saw Dylan just got a new guitar. Like he works at Long McQuaid now.
Or Steve.
So no, Long McQuaid.
Long McQuaid. Oh, sorry.
Yep. He works at Long McQuaid, and he bought a guitar yesterday.
I saw that. His first one. I guess he gets a staff discount now.
Yeah.
That's great. You work at the shop and you spend all your money there too.
Okay, so that's Munizo.
That's Munizo. Our friends Dearly Beloved are touring England this month with Bash and Pop. Bash and Pop is Tommy Stinson from The Replacements.
Right.
His band. After The Replacements, he formed Bash and Pop. Then he went and played with Guns N' Roses for quite a while. Then he's back with Bash and Pop. And their new record's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite. The single is one of my favorite songs of the year so far. So that's really great that the Dearly Beloved's back in England again.
Dearly Beloved, we talk about them off and on, but it's because they're doing stuff. This is a band that came to Indie Week Ireland. This is when we were in Dublin. And they ended up getting signed to AMA agency, so they got a booking agent. And they've toured Europe a number of times now. And each time it seems to be more countries, like they've done Poland to Germany to Scotland to Netherlands, you name it. They've started to make a name for themselves, and they keep going back. So I'm really proud of them. Like that's great that they're going again, and bigger and better every time. So. And
we have some other alumni. It's the Sound of Music Festival, soundofmusic.ca. If you want to go online, it starts tomorrow. Or Saturday, sorry, with their big. They only have one paid show per year, one ticketed event, and that's on Saturday. Sumo Cyco is playing that show.
Right.
Offspring live, Mariana's Trench, Smash Mouth. It's a big show, but if you go to their website, it's a great. I don't know if you've ever been, but it's a great facility outside in Burlington by the water. Stages at both ends. I know the Trues are playing, a bunch of other great bands. But it's a beautiful way to spend a Saturday or Sunday afternoon or one of the weeknights in the evening.
Wow.
It's just a great concert facility outside in Burlington.
And Sumo's playing.
And Sumo's playing Saturday.
That's crazy because Sumo Cyco just did a U.S. Canada and U.S. tour. I didn't think they were back already. That's amazing.
They're playing on Saturday.
Man, that's another band that's a workhorse. Like,
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. That's so impressive.
Yeah, and it's a great festival. So if you're in Burlington, and Burlington's not that far from Toronto, kids. So
Yeah.
it's only an hour drive with no traffic. So
Right.
there's that.
And I just noticed, it's been up there for a while, but I just noticed Logan Brown joined in. So
Hey.
if you're still listening, Logan, shout out to you.
Here's to Kingston.
Nice.
Hello, Odessa.
Cool. And then
Last week was field trip. I never made it down, but all reports were very strong. Broken Social Scene killed it.
Feist.
And Feist. And actually, I saw Feist, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday night on the Colbert Show. And it was great. The staging was fantastic. She rocked. She looked great. Colbert actually came out and did the spoken word thing at the end of it.
Right. Yeah, no, that's great. Like Feist, when I was booking at the Rivoli, she did a show at the secret show kind of at the Rivoli, and it was with By Divine Right. Yeah, which they all played together, of course, and I think she was even in By Divine Right for a little bit.
Oh, probably. Like, they
know?
were the original Broken Social Scene. So many people were in By Divine Right at one point.
So that was a fun night, and you know, it's kind of cool to see, you know, Toronto native, like, you know, also become an international star.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. You know, get an iPod commercial, a little love from Apple, and it shows you the power of licensing your songs to the right people at the right time. It can be an absolute breakthrough. So
Apple, you can't go wrong.
yeah, and we'll be talking about things like that at Indie 101 this year. The conference portion of Indie Week. We're just setting up all the panels right now. Some great people have agreed to attend that you'll be hearing about shortly. So we're going to have some really informative panels at Indie 101.
Yeah, we're actually working towards a whole songwriter series. So not just for bands, but people who are just interested in crafting songs, like how to get them out there, what to do, from streaming to monetizing, the sync and licensing, writing, recording. We're working on all that.
Getting it on radio, getting it on satellite.
Right, absolutely. So stay tuned for all that. That'll be cool. I'm actually looking forward to it. We did a sync and licensing panel last year, and it sold out practically, like standing room only.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
So we're just looking to expand on that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, thanks to Michael Perlmutter and everyone who joined us last year with that. It was fantastic.
Yeah, in the city. Like
in the city of Toronto, yes.
They were our partners on it.
And Music Ontario.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
there's a great.
Cool.
We were talking about the reopening of the Masonic Temple at 888 Yonge Street, which we were reminiscing about. You know, great shows with 9 Inch Nails and Iggy Pop and the Ramones. But there was another side to that venue as well, which I sort of forgotten about. But I did spend some time there. But there's a great story in the latest issue of Now, which is like the oral history of hip hop at the Masonic Temple by Ron Nelson. Was the promoter. Ron used to be on CKLN, had a hip hop show every Saturday called Fantastic Voyage, which back in the early 80s was like the only source of hip hop music in Toronto, and that's where you could hear Mishi Me and all the original artists. It was fantastic, and this is a really great story.
Yeah.
With all the artists who performed there, and a lot of the Toronto scenesters now talking about what an amazing venue it was, and the shows that they saw, from Public Enemy to the show that I saw wasn't presented by Ron because he probably wasn't old enough at that point, but we had Grandmaster Flash there.
Wow.
Presented by the Garys in 1979.
Gary Top.
Gary Top and Gary Cormier, the two Garys, and I've got a great picture of me and the entire original Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5 MCs, great black and white. I'll have to bring it in and hold it up. Where I had my little Joe Strummer look with my black scarf on and my leather jacket. It's just an iconic shot. They're all like leaning all over us and stuff. But it's a really interesting read. And of course, I have to do my book of the week. My book I'm actually reading at home is the new Paul McCartney book, which is 850 pages and really hard to take on transit. So my transit book is the latest Malcolm Gladwell book, David and Goliath, and it's really interesting. Some of his books are hit and miss. Tipping Point was great. Outliers was good.
Yeah.
Blink to me was 200 pages, but it could have been 3. It's just like go with your gut. It was basically what it said.
You know what? I didn't even make it through Blink. I don't think.
Yeah.
I was like,
that was the one disappointment. And Malcolm's, a U of T graduate, Toronto boy. World Now, but this is Underdogs, Misfits, and the Art of Battling Giants from the original David and Goliath. But
so every musician,
yeah, musicians could get a lot out of reading this. Like anyone in business
All of
can,
them,
because
yeah.
it shows you, or it tells you how adversity can actually help you.
Yeah.
They talk about dyslexics in here and how many have gone on to great success, which you wouldn't think they would have because they read backwards or whatever.
That's what I do.
But at a very young age, they learn to listen better, they learn to memorize, they have number skills, they have other skills. And there's also another part about going to university and being incredibly smart and getting accepted at Harvard because you want to be a scientist, but you also get accepted at some of the lesser schools, and lesser than Harvard is pretty well every other school except for MIT. But are you better off being brilliant and going to Harvard, but being 50th most brilliant there, or going to the University of Maryland and being number one in your class?
Yeah.
And it's surprising you're so much better sometimes to be a big fish in a small pond.
Absolutely.
It talks about that. It also talks about losing a parent. How many presidents and how many, titans of industry lost their parents before they were 15?
Yeah.
Which is a setback, but you learn to deal with adversity at a very young age, and you overcompensate in other areas that can take you to greatness. So it's a really interesting read.
Yeah. Well, I believe, like, I try to read a lot of these types of books, and bands and artists should be looking into this kind of stuff because it really tells you how to possibly navigate the road to success. Mm-hmm. And success rules apply for any industry, and it could even be like just a personal life thing, right?
Yeah.
So,
Malcolm's the one who became very famous in The Tipping Point, and it's quoted everywhere, the 10,000 hours. You must practice or perform 10,000 hours. And equates it to the Beatles. And conversely, I'm reading the Paul McCartney book right now, and they're in Hamburg doing 6:45s a night and getting their 10,000. They got their 10,000 hours in before they had a single.
Before even anything, yeah.
And there's a lot of music knowledge in books of this nature. And it's an easy read. He doesn't over-explain everything. They're very simple examples.
Yeah.
Not big and wordy and tough. It's a great streetcar read, and I'm really quite enjoying it. And I must say, I found it in one of those little. They're all over my neighborhood. The little boxes on people's lawn. They have the little mini libraries where you just take a book, then you just put one in your own.
I've never seen that, but that sounds cool.
Oh yeah, they're all over the city. There's a lot in the beach, but you just look and you just open the little thing. Oh, I haven't read that one, and you take that one out, and you go to your library and it's like, oh, maybe someone will enjoy this book, and you leave it back in there, which I think is fantastic. But
That's
I also use the library all the time too. So.
Cool. Hold the book up again for others.
Yes.
David and Goliath.
David and Goliath. Malcolm Gladwell.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's up next? This weekend.
This weekend in London, Ontario.
Yeah. So, hoping to make it out there. This weekend is the CMAOs celebrating country music in Ontario. Saturday, I believe they've got a whole bunch of panels and talks, the whole typical music industry, which, here's another organization that's really trying to push and promote country music in Ontario specifically. And again, if you're a country music artist, you just got to go to these things.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it when you talk to some people and they're like, oh, I didn't know that's happening. And it's the artist's job to find out what's happening. But it's also their job to get on the radar of the people organizing it, where they invite you. They know who you are enough that you're on their mailing list, you get newsletters, invites, all that kind of stuff. So this weekend is the CMAOs. It's in London, Ontario. Saturday is a whole bunch of conferences. Fridays there's probably a bunch of parties and showcases. And Sunday's the big day with the awards, and that's what I'm hoping to make it down to this year.
And some of the greatest songwriters in the country will be there, I'm sure, because
and
the country writers are some of the most prolific, great songwriters in our country.
And also some of the best musicians.
Players.
Players in that, So, I remember I went last year, it was a lot of fun, and my friend Dan Sandowski, I'm not sure if I pronounced the last name, but he's playing with Tebe. And I'm on Instagram, the awards are on, and there's little breaks between presentations. So I'm scrolling through and I see Dan on the Instagram, and I messaged him. I'm like, oh, you're here, right? And he's like, see you in 2 seconds. And then Tebe came out and he was on stage playing.
Oh, really? That's too funny.
You know, so that was pretty cool. So maybe I'll run into my friend Dan and a few others. It's the other thing too about these events. When you start going, you might not know people, but if you've gone for like 5 years, all of a sudden it's almost like these mini reunions.
Yeah, it's like going back to camp.
You know, like it's like these reunions, and you can reconnect with some people. In fact, last year I reconnected with Robin Peltier, who I hadn't seen since college, right? Like he was in the AC/DC tribute band back then, but now he's playing in country bands, and he's doing quite well for himself. He's doing great, so that was kind of cool. Like, hadn't seen him in a while. And then also my friend Rob Shapiro plays in Hey Romeo, and we went to college together, and you know, it's these things that bring you back together, and we catch up, see what everyone's doing right now, and you never know where we could work together, right? So that's pretty cool. So this weekend, CMAOs in London. If you're a country music artist in Ontario, you should go to it. End of story.
Okay. There's actually another cool story in now this week about, it's called the Flyer Vault. It's on Instagram, the Flyer Vault. What's our Instagram, by the way?
Indie Week.
Indie Week. Okay, that's nice and simple. I'm really not that up because I'm still on my BlackBerry. I'm not Mr. Instagram. The Flyer Vault, it's just a collection of flyers from Toronto shows, like going back to the 40s and 50s, but all the punk shows, all the hip-hop shows, and I sort of fell in that rabbit hole for about 2 minutes, but I think this weekend I might go, oh my God, yeah, I was at that show. Well, that's when that was. Or
Right.
Run DMC at the Shock Theater at 1 in the morning, or Diodes at the Shock Theater. And
Yeah.
it's really cool Instagram. Just because I remember those posters. I used to have a lot of them on my bedroom walls way back when.
Well, you know what? That's one thing I find that's sort of a lost art right now is nobody posters. So you don't see that as much. Like there used to be this art form, and I think, you know, like we're always trying to kind of like give advice to artists, you know. Back in those days, that was what branding was. Like you're doing posters and like you're creating your identity, and I feel that that's a bit of a loss right now because you're not walking down the street learning about bands. You know, like I remember there was a band called Quad, right? And I saw their stuff everywhere, their stickers, their posters, and it was like the same font for everything, and you know,
Adam Sewell had something to do with Quad, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I have no
Stereo
idea.
Dynamite.
I have no idea. But it was like everywhere I went, I saw this band. So I knew about them without seeing them or hearing them. You know, and there were so many others. It's just that one really sticks out.
Yeah, there was the Prince tribute, like the Purple Passion guy. I still see those posters. The guy who used to do the Prince thing.
No, I
Like
don't-
from 10 years ago, you had the purple poster. I still see those
Yeah.
occasionally on a mailbox or something.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's just like certain acts that, you know, we talked about it before, the Rabbit Hole. Like they were fantastic at it. You couldn't walk along Queen Street West without seeing one of their flyers.
and it was a picture of them, and it's big, and it's full color and glossy, and
And the venue
You know?
was always big. So like that's
Yeah.
what I do if I quickly see a poster. It's like, okay, cool, there's the band. Where are they playing? All right, they're a Bovine band, or they're a Cherries band, or they're a Cameron House band.
you brought up a great point. You made me think. You know, we're always trying to do tips for bands. So here's a tip, right? Anytime you're trying to promote stuff, right, especially on the street, poster-wise, squint and see if you can understand it, right? Because if it's on the poster, there's often like you're on a streetcar looking outside, and you've got 2 seconds before a streetcar takes off to know what's happening, or it's across the street. If it's in a bar, it's a dark bar, and people are across the room, right? So the function of the poster is actually meant to say who, what, where, when, and that's it, right? And if you look at Live Nation posters, and Live Nation is the world's largest music promoter, it'll literally be picture of the act at Molson Amphitheater on July whatever, this is the band, here's what's opening. Maybe they don't even put the opening band, but that's it. And I find a lot of times it gets to be too much like art, and you can't, like, it's cryptic. Nobody's going
Too
to
much
read
to
it.
think about, too much to read.
That's it.
You don't even have to put the price of the show on it. Just like
No.
all I want to know is where you're playing when,
Yeah,
and I'll figure out if I want to pay.
yeah. Doors is a good one to put on because then
Yeah.
they get a sense of when. But that's it. Like, all you need is the date, nice, big, and bold. The venue, nice, big, and bold. Name a band, big and bold, and that's it.
And that doesn't just apply to posters. That could be on your Instagram or on your Facebook too. Just bam, there it is.
Don't make people think.
Yeah.
That's it. There's actually a book out. Don't make me think. Just to know, Steve Krug, and it's about there's a book out there called by Steve Krug, and it's called Don't Make Me Think, and it's all about more or less web navigation and process, like, do I click this or not? Like, you're making me think, and it's meant to be just bam, there you go, or here's 5 buttons when it could be 1, and so that's a good one to work on, and especially for artists who are trying to promote things through newsletters. Too many messages. You could do this, or you could do this, and if you want, you could click on this, or like, basically, it should just be like, buy now, RSVP. That's it. Like, simple.
Even a press release, and Richard Flowell's the king of these. Hey, Richard. His press release always start who, what, where, when, why, and it's one line.
That's
Who,
it.
playing where, when, why, if it's a benefit or whatever it is, and then there's there's a couple paragraphs about the artist and information, stuff like that. But you get one of Richard's emails. It's like, oh, they're playing Hughes Room Thursday. Cool. I'll go see Midger or whoever.
Absolutely, and you're right. This also extends to emails, right? So here's a little exercise. Google F-shaped pattern, and then look at images, and it actually is screenshots and screen captures of how people look at the web, and you'll see everybody reads on the left-hand side, and they go over just a little bit and they stop reading. So anything that's past half the screen, people aren't reading. So often in emails, I find, and I catch myself, if I'm writing out a descriptive email, on the other end, I get like I'll say, do you want to come to the show? We're presenting an artist, blah, 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 and if you want, I could throw you on the guest list, and the message is lost when I'm sending it out like that. So it's kind of like, I'm presenting an artist at this venue at this time. Do you want to go? I'll put you on guest list. Straight to the point, and I hit return for each one so that it's all on the left-hand side. And there's so many times where I get examples, and I try to show it to our staff every once in a while, where I'll be like, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, are you able to meet next week? And on the other end, it's like, hey, should we meet? The message is lost, right? So I find in communication, I try to get it down to a yes or no question, and that's it. Would you like to go to this show? It's yes or no, right? I could get you tickets. Do you want any? Yes or no. No extra stuff, right? And really where I learned a lot of this was when I was booking the Rivoli, dealing with booking agents. To get really clear bookings, if I was really descriptive, like, these are guys on the go, they're looking at it on their phone and they're whipping through a bunch of emails, I had to make it easy for them to say yes. And if I made it really easy for them to ask questions, they get frustrated after 3 emails back and forth and whatnot. So I just tried to make it easy for them to say yes. And that's a tip for, if you're trying to book a tour or communicate with people in the industry, make it easy for them to say yes.
Good tips.
That's it.
Yeah, you taught me brevity. I used to write out Thursday, November 11th. Now it's like
THU,
NOV 11.
No TH, no TH. You don't need it. Yeah.
I still write like a publicist, like an old school publicist.
Of course. Well,
you are teaching me things now. What can you teach me about Pop Shop?
I'll be honest. I try to be honest. I probably won't drink a Lime Ricky Pop Shop again. No, but they have different flavors, and I'll probably try each and every single one of them.
Cream soda might kind of rock.
Yeah, right now it's
too sweet.
No, it's just I find the taste is actually kind of confusing. It hasn't figured out what it is. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's not. There isn't anything definitive. Like, think of it like as a song has a hook, and I think a cocktail or a drink has to have something that grabs you.
Needs
Nothing's
it needs a
grabbing you.
bridge.
Yeah, it needs a hook. So the chorus is weak. So yeah. Next week, no Lime Ricky.
All right. So I'll have something new next week. This is gone. It was quite good. Well, it's not gone, but it is now. So
It was good?
It was quite good.
All right. So I think that comes to a close.
I think we're due. It's going to be 32 on Monday.
Finally. Yeah, what's with this weather? It's been raining so much.
Nuts.
So hopefully this weekend is nice. Again, just a reminder, CMAOs this weekend in London. And the
Applications are open for about 1 more month for Indie Week.
Yep, basically, exactly. July 11th is the deadline to apply to Indie Week. Canada.indieweek.com/apply. And the other thing too, just what's going on, Sound of Music Festival.
Yeah, if you can get down to Burlington, go to their website, soundofmusic.ca. Ticketed concert on Saturday, but there's shows for the next 10 days down there, so it'll be fantastic.
Awesome. So, just as we're ending, Kat just joined.
Hi, Kat.
Hey, Kat, shout out to you.
TFC.
All right. So everybody have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching. Bye.